सर कुछ सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा है।
Good morning, all. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir.
Good morning.
Okay, so today we will see the chapter Microsoft Access. Already we have done one class in Microsoft Access. Remember?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So what is Microsoft Access? What is Microsoft Access?
Sir,
Any?
database management system.
Yes, good. Purani. Database management system. Okay. Now what is a database?
Sir, collection of data.
Yes, a collection of data, okay, which is stored in an organized format. Okay, that is a database. So organized format means we can search data from the database in the way we want. Okay, so Microsoft Access is a software that helps you to create and manage databases. Okay, so last day in WhatsApp class I have given some task. Last week.
Yes, sir.
So nobody has responded. किसी ने नहीं भेजा टास्क. Why? Even nobody asked anything कि सर नहीं समझ में आया or something, any question, any query. Just I have posted the questions and nobody has answered anything. Nothing. Why?
Sir, नहीं सके.
नहीं सके, so you should ask ना कि sir I
Yes, sir.
get the question, please explain.
Yes, sir.
Just see the message and shut the phone down. Okay, so any exercise or question if I am giving, so you should reply. Na? If you know the answer, then send the answer. If you don't know the answer, then reply, sir, I don't know the answer, please explain. Okay, anyways, let's start the topic. So how my database is maintained in Microsoft Access? How you store data in Microsoft Access?
By creating tables.
By creating tables. Okay. So right now I'm sharing my screen. Okay, my screen is visible. My screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the Microsoft Access starting window. Okay, now how to create database? If you want to create a new database, what you have to do? See the screen, which option should you select?
Sir, new blank database.
Which option? Blank data.
New blank database.
Yes. Okay, so first you have to click on blank database. Okay, so we will select blank database. Then after that, next step,
In right
create
side,
any data
click
inside.
next what to do?
create.
Create.
Okay, so you will see when you click on blank database, you will see the right side one pane will open where you have to enter the file name. Okay, and then you have to click on the create button. So suppose if you want to save the file with name shop. Okay, so you will have to write shop file name. See below this file name, the location is shown. C user Pradeep PC documents. This is the location of the database, the folder inside which this database will be created. Okay, and you can change this path also. If you want to save in some other folder, you can click on this folder icon, and from here you can change the location. If you want to save in E drive or F drive, any other folder, you can change the location from here. Okay, and if you want to continue with the same location, just click on create. Okay, so after clicking on create, it will create the database. Okay, now this is your database window. Okay, now inside this window, at the top there is title bar and quick access toolbar. Below there is ribbon, and inside the ribbon there are tabs and different options. Okay, and this main window is divided into two parts. The left part is the navigation pane. Here you will see the objects you have created, tables, queries, forms, reports, that you will see in this navigation pane. And right portion is the document tab. Okay, here you will see the selected document. That means if you select a table, you will see the details of that table. Okay, so right now Microsoft Access by default created one table named table 1, and you will see the detail of the table in the document tab. Okay, so inside this table one field, this is the column, or in database term it is called field. Okay, so one ID field is there already created. Okay, and rest other fields you can create by double clicking on this add new field button. Okay, so suppose if you want to create a table to store the information of different grocery items. Okay, so for that, first you have to think what are the informations that I need to store about that grocery item. Okay, so you have to decide that what are the fields or what are the data I want to save in the database. Okay, Access will only help you to create the format and store the data. But what data you want to store, that you have to decide. Okay, depending on the uh, question or depending on the situation, that which type of database you are creating and for what purpose you are creating the database. Okay, so suppose I am creating a database for a shop. That means I want to store the information of the grocery items that are stored in the shop, that are sold. Okay, so for that I want a table that will store the information of the items. Okay, so what I need to store? So I need to store the item name. Okay, after typing item name, when you press enter, automatically next column will be highlighted and you can enter the next column name or field name. Okay, so item name, then I want quantity. Okay, so now three fields are there in my table. One is ID field, one is item name, and one is quantity. This one is not a field, okay, because we have not added this field. Only we have added ID, item name, and quantity. If you want some other field, you can double click on this and then you can add another field. Okay, suppose after quantity, if you want some description of the item, then you can write here description. Okay, so now four fields are there: ID, item name, quantity, and description. Okay, so this is a normal table you can create in Microsoft Access, and after creating this you have to save this. Okay, so click on this save button or press Ctrl S. Now it will show you the table name. By default it is coming table 1. You can change the table name to items table and now click on OK. Okay, so in this way you can create a table. Now you can fill the data inside these fields. Okay, suppose first item name you want to say rice. Okay, quantity, suppose you have 500 kgs. Okay, description, suppose any suppose you are writing company name. Okay, so in the same way you can quantity, suppose 1030. Okay, so in this way you can add more items. Okay, so this is one items table I have created. Okay, now if you want to close this, you can close from here. Okay, now nothing is open in the document tab. Now if you want to open this item table, double click on this, so you will see the item tables details. Okay, now there are two views you can use. One is data sheet view and another is design view. Okay, so click on this view tab, view button. So one data sheet view, another one is design view. Mostly these two views are used. Data sheet view is used for entering the data. Okay, if you want to enter and store data in the table, then you have to use the data sheet view. So right now it is in the data sheet view. Okay, this is highlighted data sheet view. So right now you are in the data sheet view. You can enter, update, delete data from here. Okay, so I have entered data. Suppose you want to change the data, you can change directly by typing on this cell. Okay, so in this way you can change the data. If you want to delete data, you can delete also. Go to the data that you want to delete. Okay. Now in the records group, okay, you will see here in the inside the home tab, there is a records group. So in the records group, there is a delete option. Okay. So if you click on this delete, it will delete the cell value. Okay. Now, if you want to delete the whole row, then click on this button. Okay, beside that row, it will select the whole row. Now, click on this delete.
Sir, your voice is cracking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, I am deleting one row. Okay, so for deleting a row, you have to click on the button here beside that row. Okay, so it will directly select the whole row and click on this delete button. So when you click on this delete button, it will ask you, you are about to delete one record. Okay, now in access, if you delete one record, it will not come back. That means you cannot undo your delete action. Okay, so before deleting, you should be sure that I want to delete that data. Okay, that record. Now if I click yes, then it will delete my record. See, the undo option is not highlighted. That means you cannot reverse this action, delete action. Okay, so in access table, if you want to delete a record, a whole row, then you cannot undo your change. You cannot reverse that change. Okay. So in this way, you can add records, delete records, okay, update records in the table. Now, if you want to change the view from datasheet to design view. Now, what is design view? See, this is the design view of the table. Okay. Now, design view is used to uh, give the structure of the table. Okay. Structure means what fields you want to uh, give in the table, what type of field you want to add, and the any other properties of the field. Okay, like field size, its format, data format. Okay, many properties are there. So here you see we have created item name, quantity, and description, and by default all the fields have the text data type. Okay, so what will happen, because this all the fields have text data type, so if you enter record in datasheet view, suppose you are entering here butter. Now in quantity, if I write xyz, and in description I write so this data is not valid. Quantity should be some number. Okay, but it is accepting some text xyz abc. Okay, so this is not the correct data, and I don't want to want the table to store a invalid data in the column, in the field. Okay, so for that I want to restrict this column to store numbers only. Okay, so how we can do this? In the design view, you can change the data type. Okay, here in the design view, see, I want to set this quantity. Click on this data type. A list of data types are there. Okay, so for number type data, you have to select this number. Okay, so I have selected number. Now save the change. Click on this save button. It will save the change. Click on yes. Okay, now see, when you open this table in datasheet view, see, the numbers I have written already are there, and if I enter XYZ, then it will not accept my data. It is showing the value enter does not match
Sir,
the.
your voice is not coming.
See, when I type this XYZ, it is displaying the value you enter does not match with the number data type in this column. Okay, so you have to enter number here. Okay, so if I write 34, then it will accept my data. Okay, so data type defines the type of data the field will store. Okay, so it allows you to restrict the invalid data in the field. Okay, so you can uh, so that your database does not contain any invalid value. Okay, so for that you have to go to the design view and set the correct data type of the fields. Okay, one more thing, you see one key symbol is there in the ID field. You can see a key symbol. Okay,
Yes,
what does this key symbol means?
sir. It is a primary key.
It is a primary key field. Okay, now what is a primary key field? What is a primary key field? Okay, basically two things are there. A primary key field cannot have a or do not have a null value. Okay, so what is a null value? Null value means blank, nothing. Okay, so in a primary key field, it cannot have a null value or blank value. Okay, and second thing, it cannot have duplicate values. Okay, that means repeated values. Okay, so why it is so? Because you want the primary key field to identify each record uniquely. Okay, so see, when you open the table in datasheet view, I have written item name soap. Okay, and in description I have written lux. That means lux soap quantity is 1030. Now maybe I have another type of soap. So item name I have written soap, quantity 54, and now I have written Lifebuoy. Okay, now soap is repeated two times. Okay, so item name could not be primary key. Okay, because it contains repeated data. But in primary key field, you cannot repeat any data. Okay, so it is unique. That means every row has a unique record. Okay, so see in ID 1, 2, 4, 5, that means all the values are different. No repeated data is there. Okay, so ID field is the primary key field. Okay, item name could not be primary key because it is repeating. Quantity may also repeat. Okay, suppose butter is 34 and soap is also 34, it can repeat. Okay, description may also repeat because suppose you have written butter Amul and you are writing milk, this is also Amul. Okay, you can write ghee, this is also Amul. So that means description can also repeat, quantity can also repeat, item name can also repeat. So these fields cannot be the primary key. Okay, but ID is different. For every field there is a every row there is a unique ID. So this is the primary key field. So in every table that you create in the database must have a primary key field. Okay, so if there is a column that can be a primary key field, you can choose that column as a primary key. Suppose you are storing data of students, so students registration number or admission number, that is different for every student. Okay, so that registration number or admission number could be the primary key field. Okay, but if you think that no field is unique or can be a primary key, then you can add a separate ID field, which is auto numbering field. Auto numbering means it will contain auto serial number 1 2 3 4. So automatically every record will be unique. Okay, so that ID field will work for as a primary key. Okay, so here this ID field is working as a primary key. Now again go to design view. Now see, if you set this data type, then automatically you are giving some restriction to the data. Okay, now you can add some other properties to the field. Okay, other properties means suppose item name. Item name is text, and you want to store some limitation to the number of characters. Okay, suppose I want that item name should not be more than 50 characters. Okay, so for that, the bottom side of this design view, okay, this contains the field properties. Okay, see here, this is the field properties. Now inside this field properties, you will see different properties are there: field size, format, input mask, caption, default value, validation rule, validation text, required. Okay, now see, field size, it is given 255. That means the text field can have 255 characters maximum. Okay, but if I want that it should not contain more than 50 characters, then you can change the field size property to 50. Okay, now uh, save the changes, click on yes. Now see, in the data sheet view, if you write any item name more than 50 characters, okay, so it is 50 characters is very long. So when it reaches 50 characters, then it will not accept more characters. Okay, now see, suppose I am giving here 34 and some name XYZ. Now see, item name is blank. Okay, but I am giving the quantity and description. So this is another type of invalid data. Okay, because if you don't have any item name, then how can you give the quantity? That means this quantity is for which item? Okay, so item name should not be blank. Okay, so in that case, in the design view, you have to set a field property. Okay, this item name, first you have to select this item name field, and inside this field properties, go to this required option. Okay, see, it is given no. That means required no means you can left blank. Okay, But if you put required yes, okay, change this value to yes. So now required is yes. That means you have to give item name. You cannot left the item name blank. Okay. Now open the table. Now suppose I am writing quantity 34. Okay. Description XYZ, and as soon as I move out of the row, it will show you must enter a value in the items dot item name field. Okay, that means I cannot leave this item name field blank. Okay, so in this way you can set the field properties and make your database more correct, so that it will not have any invalid value. Okay, see. So now I have to enter item name. I cannot leave this item name blank because the field property I have set here for item name required yes. Okay. So in this way, validation rule is also there. You can set the validation rule property. Okay, like quantity. Okay. See, in the dataset view now, if I write quantity minus 34, so minus 34 is also a number. Okay. So see, data type is number, quantity data type is number. Okay. So it is accepting minus 34 also, because minus 34 is also a number. But in practical situation, quantity would not be negative. Okay. Because quantity must be either 0 or above 0. That means any positive value. Okay. But it is accepting minus 34 also. So this is the invalid data. Okay. So how could you restrict this one? So again, in design view, go to this quantity column, and in the field properties, go to this validation rule. Now here you have to give a rule like less than, greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, equal to. This operators you have to use. Okay. So quantity must be positive or 0. That means greater than equal to 0. Okay. So we have to write validation rule greater than equal to 0. Okay. Now with this validation rule, you can give validation text also. Okay. So what is validation text? Suppose any value which is not satisfying this rule, then it will give some message. So what message will it give? That you have to write here. Okay. Now suppose I am giving enter value greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so I want this message to be displayed when I enter any value less than 0. Okay, so enter value greater than or equal to 0. So this is the validation text. Okay, now save. Yes. Now open in datasheet view. Now if I enter here minus 34, so as soon as I go out of this row, it will show me enter value greater than or equal to 0. The message I have written, that is showing here. Okay, and it is not accepting this 34, minus 34. Okay, so that means any value I can write, but that should be positive number. If I write 14, it will accept. Okay, but if I write minus 14, it will not accept. So in this way you can set the field properties. Okay, so field size, validation rule, validation text, okay, required. These are the different field properties that we can set in the design view. Okay, understood up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now uh, Only 2 minutes is left. Okay. So any question up to this?
No, sir.
Now see one more thing. Uh, Apart from adding, deleting the records, you can also sort the record in the table. Okay, you can filter the records. Okay, see, beside every field name, there is a drop down arrow. Okay, if you click on this arrow, you will see a list of menu items. So top is A to Z. This is the sorting option, A to Z and Z to A. So if you want to sort the item names according to alphabetically order, that is A to Z, then click on this A to Z. So you will see the records are sorted according to the name. Okay. You can set in descending order also, Z to A. Okay. In the same way, if you want to sort according to quantity, smallest to largest, okay, or largest to smallest. So in this way, you can sort the data in the table. You can sort according to ID also. Now, if you want to filter data, so you can click on this filter option. Okay. Now, text filters are there in the text column. If you go to number column, then you will see number filter. Okay. Now, suppose I want to show only soap, then select only soap, then click on OK. So only soap item will be displayed. Okay.